Have you ever wondered why men seem to speak a completely different language when it comes to relationships? What if I told you there's a book that claims to have cracked the code on understanding the male mind in ways that could transform every relationship you have? Today we're diving deep into Alison Armstrong's groundbreaking work, Keys to the Kingdom, a book that's been quietly revolutionizing how women understand and connect with men for over 2 decades. This isn't your typical relationship advice book filled with tired cliches about Mars and Venus. Armstrong spent years conducting workshops and seminars with thousands of men, actually listening to what they had to say about their inner worlds, their fears, their motivations, and what makes them tick. What she discovered challenges everything most women think they know about the opposite sex. If you've ever felt frustrated trying to communicate with the men in your life, whether it's your romantic partner, your father, your boss, or your teenage son, this summary is going to open your eyes to an entirely new way of seeing things. We're going to explore Armstrong's revolutionary concepts about male development stages, the shocking truth about how men handle stress differently than women, and why understanding these differences isn't just helpful, but absolutely essential for creating the relationships you actually want. Get ready to have your assumptions shattered and your perspective completely transformed as we unlock the keys to understanding the kingdom of the male mind. Keys to the Kingdom emerges from Allison Armstrong's extensive research into male psychology and behaviour patterns that began in the early 1990s. Armstrong, who founded Pax Programs Incorporated, didn't start as a relationship expert, but rather as someone seeking answers to her own relationship frustrations. After a series of failed romantic relationships, she made a radical decision that would change her life's trajectory. Instead of continuing to complain about men's behaviour, she would actually study them systematically. Armstrong's approach was revolutionary because she chose to listen to men speak about their own experiences rather than interpreting their behaviour through a female lens. She conducted hundreds of workshops where men could speak openly about their thoughts, feelings and motivations without judgment or correction from women. This methodology produced insights that contradicted many popular assumptions about male behaviour and revealed patterns that had been largely overlooked by traditional relationship advice. The book synthesizes decades of this research into practical frameworks that women can use to better understand the men in their lives. Armstrong's work spans beyond romantic relationships to include professional interactions, family dynamics, and friendships. Her central premise is that men operate according to different internal logic systems than women, and that recognizing these differences can eliminate much of the confusion and conflict that arises between genders. What sets this book apart is its foundation in direct male testimony rather than theoretical speculation. Armstrong presents her findings not as universal truths, but as patterns observed across thousands of interactions with men from diverse backgrounds and life stages. The result is a comprehensive guide that offers specific tools and strategies for improving communication, reducing conflict, and building stronger connections with men across all areas of life. The core framework of Keys to the Kingdom revolves around Armstrong's discovery that men progress through distinct developmental stages throughout their lives, each characterized by different priorities, behaviors, and ways of relating to the world. Unlike traditional models that view personal development as linear progression toward maturity, Armstrong identifies these stages as cyclical patterns that men revisit throughout their lives depending on circumstances and life challenges. The book introduces readers to what Armstrong terms the masculine operating system, a set of internal drives and decision-making processes that govern male behaviour. She argues that women often misinterpret male actions because they apply feminine logic to masculine behaviour, creating unnecessary conflict and misunderstanding. By learning to recognise and respect these different operating systems, women can dramatically improve their relationships with men. Armstrong explores how men handle stress, process emotions, and approach problem solving in ways that differ significantly from typical feminine approaches. She reveals why men often withdraw when facing challenges, why they may seem less emotionally expressive, and how their communication styles serve different purposes than women's communication patterns. These insights help explain behaviours that women often find confusing or hurtful. The book also delves into what motivates men in different life circumstances, from career advancement to family relationships. Armstrong shows how understanding these motivations can help women support the men in their lives more effectively while also getting their own needs met. She provides specific strategies for communication that honour masculine psychology while still allowing women to express their own perspectives and requirements clearly and effectively. The first major concept Armstrong introduces is the ninth stage of male development, which represents men in their achievement-oriented phase. During this stage, men are primarily focused on proving themselves, building their careers and establishing their place in the world. Knights are characterized by their drive to succeed, their competitive nature, and their tendency to prioritize external validation. Armstrong explains that knights often appear emotionally distant because their energy is directed toward external challenges rather than internal reflection or relationship maintenance. Understanding this stage helps women recognize that a knight's behavior isn't personal rejection, but rather a natural expression of his developmental priorities. The prince stage follows, representing men who have achieved a level of success and are beginning to focus more on relationships and personal fulfillment. Princes have moved beyond the desperate need to prove themselves and can offer more emotional availability and partnership. However, they still maintain the confidence and capability developed during their knight phase. Armstrong describes how princes make ideal romantic partners because they combine masculine strength with emotional maturity, but she also warns that not all men successfully transition to this stage. Armstrong's exploration of the king stage reveals men who have fully integrated their masculine power with wisdom and service to others. Kings are characterized by their ability to make decisions that benefit not just themselves, but their entire community or family. They operate from a place of abundance rather than scarcity and can handle significant responsibility without becoming overwhelmed. The king represents the highest expression of mature masculinity, though Armstrong notes that men may cycle between stages depending on life circumstances. The concept of masculine stress response forms another crucial element of Armstrong's framework. She explains that men typically respond to stress by withdrawing and focusing intensely on problem solving, a pattern she calls going into their cave. This withdrawal isn't rejection, but rather a biological and psychological necessity for processing challenges. Women often interpret this withdrawal as abandonment or lack of caring, leading to pursuit behaviours that actually increase male stress levels. Armstrong provides specific guidance on how women can support men during these periods without taking their withdrawal personally. Armstrong dedicates significant attention to understanding male communication patterns, particularly what she calls report talk versus rapport talk. Men typically use communication to share information, solve problems, or establish hierarchies, while women often communicate to build connection and share experiences. This fundamental difference creates countless misunderstandings in daily interactions. Armstrong shows how women can adapt their communication style to be more effective with men while still maintaining their authentic expression and getting their needs met. The book addresses male sexuality and emotional expression in ways that challenge common assumptions. Armstrong reveals that men often experience emotions just as deeply as women, but express them differently due to socialization and biological factors. Men may show love through actions rather than words, or express vulnerability through humour rather than direct emotional statements. Understanding these alternative forms of expression helps women recognise emotional depth in men that might otherwise go unnoticed. Armstrong explores workplace dynamics between men and women, showing how masculine hierarchies function and how women can navigate these systems more effectively. She explains that men often establish pecking orders quickly and operate within these structures naturally, while women may find these hierarchies uncomfortable or unfair. By understanding masculine workplace psychology, women can advance their careers and build better professional relationships with male colleagues and supervisors. The final major theme involves what Armstrong calls supporting masculine energy rather than trying to change it. She argues that many women exhaust themselves trying to get men to behave more like women, creating resentment on both sides. Instead, she advocates for working with masculine energy patterns to create win-win situations where both partners can express their authentic selves while building stronger connections. The first essential takeaway involves recognizing that male withdrawal during stress is a biological necessity rather than emotional rejection. When men face challenges, their natural response is to retreat internally and focus intensely on problem solving. This process requires mental and emotional space that can't be interrupted without causing additional stress. Women can support men during these periods by avoiding pursuit behaviours, giving them space to process, and trusting that they will reconnect once they've worked through their challenges. This understanding can prevent countless relationship conflicts that arise from misinterpreting natural masculine stress responses. Understanding the cyclical nature of masculine development stages provides crucial insight into male behaviour patterns. Men don't develop linearly, but rather cycle through knight, prince and king stages, depending on life circumstances. A man might operate as a prince in his personal relationships, while being a knight in his career, or might regress to knight behaviours when facing new challenges. Women who recognise these patterns can adjust their expectations and support accordingly, rather than expecting consistent behaviour across all life areas. Learning to distinguish between masculine and feminine communication styles dramatically improves interaction quality. Men typically communicate to share information or solve problems, while women often communicate to build connection. Neither style is superior, but recognising the difference prevents misunderstandings. Women can improve communication with men by being more direct about their needs, avoiding excessive emotional processing during problem-solving discussions, and appreciating men's tendency to offer solutions rather than just listening. Appreciating masculine forms of emotional expression reveals depth that traditional models overlook. Men often show love through actions like fixing things, providing resources, or protecting their loved ones rather than through verbal expressions. They may express vulnerability through humour, share emotions through shared activities, or demonstrate caring through consistent presence rather than emotional conversations. Women who learn to recognise these alternative emotional languages can better appreciate the men in their lives. The concept of supporting rather than changing masculine energy transforms relationship dynamics. Instead of trying to get men to behave more like women, successful relationships involve working with masculine patterns to create mutual satisfaction. This might mean appreciating a man's need for achievement, supporting his problem-solving approach, or finding ways to connect that honour his communication style while still meeting feminine needs for emotional connection. Understanding masculine workplace hierarchies empowers women to navigate professional environments more effectively. Men typically establish and operate within clear hierarchical structures that provide order and efficiency. Women who understand these systems can position themselves more strategically, communicate more effectively with male colleagues, and advance their careers by working with rather than against masculine workplace dynamics. Recognizing the importance of respect in masculine psychology reveals a key motivational factor. While women often prioritize feeling loved and cherished, men typically prioritize feeling respected and appreciated for their contributions. This doesn't mean love isn't important to men or respect isn't important to women, but understanding these primary needs helps create more satisfying relationships for both partners. The value of timing in masculine communication cannot be overstated. Men process information differently than women and often need time to formulate responses to emotional or complex topics. Pushing for immediate responses or processing can create stress and defensiveness. Women who learn to present important topics with appropriate timing and space for processing get much better results than those who demand immediate engagement. Learning to appreciate masculine problem-solving approaches reduces conflict and increases cooperation. Men typically want to fix problems rather than discuss feelings about them, which can frustrate women who need emotional processing. However, masculine problem-solving skills are valuable and complementary to feminine emotional intelligence. Successful relationships involve both partners contributing their strengths rather than one partner adopting the other's approach. Finally, understanding that masculine energy operates differently under pressure helps women support men during challenging times. Men under stress may become more focused, less emotionally available, and more hierarchical in their thinking. Rather than taking this personally, women who understand these patterns can provide appropriate support while maintaining their own emotional needs through other sources during particularly stressful periods. Keys to the Kingdom offers a revolutionary approach to understanding male psychology that moves beyond stereotypes and assumptions to reveal the complex reality of masculine experience. Armstrong's research-based insights provide women with practical tools for improving relationships across all areas of life, from romantic partnerships to professional interactions. The book's strength lies in its foundation of direct male testimony rather than theoretical speculation, making its insights both authentic and actionable. Perhaps the most valuable aspect of Armstrong's work is its emphasis on appreciation rather than criticism of masculine traits. Instead of viewing male behaviour as problematic versions of feminine behaviour, she encourages readers to see masculine patterns as different but equally valid approaches to life's challenges. This perspective shift alone can transform relationship dynamics and reduce the exhaustion many women feel trying to change the men in their lives. The book's practical applications extend far beyond romantic relationships to encompass family dynamics, workplace interactions, and friendships. Understanding masculine developmental stages, communication patterns, and stress responses provides a comprehensive framework for navigating any situation involving men. These insights are particularly valuable for women in leadership positions, mothers raising sons, or anyone seeking to build stronger connections with the men in their lives. Armstrong's work ultimately suggests that the key to better relationships isn't changing men, but rather understanding and working with masculine energy in ways that honour both masculine and feminine perspectives. This approach creates space for authentic expression from both partners while building the mutual respect and understanding that form the foundation of lasting connections. The kingdom of masculine psychology, once understood, becomes not a foreign territory to conquer, but a complementary landscape to explore and appreciate.